You ever thought about that part? At just the right time? When we were still powerless. Pretty much powerless already. Without Jesus, we are defenseless. Well, on this day, America celebrates the Father. Not just close family fathers, but even the great biblical fathers of our faith. And in keeping with the biblical theme of fathers, I can think of no greater example than the founding father of at least 3 foundations of faith, Father Abraham. The Jewish, Christian, and the Islam faith traditions, they all claim their inheritance goes way back to Abraham and Sarah. If you ever find yourself in any kind of theological discussion with persons outside of your Christian faith, you can always begin with Father Abraham as the one person in whom everyone can be in agreement. God said that Sarah and Abraham's offspring would outnumber the sands of the earth. And when we look around, it would seem that God's description would be pretty accurate. There are billions upon billions of Christians and Jews and members of the Islam faith, all coming from Father Abraham. So today we're going to take a page out of the vast life experiences of this Abraham, and we're going to begin here with Genesis 18. The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre, where he was sitting at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. Now, Mamre is a place which is not mentioned outside of the book of Genesis. At the time, it is believed to have been a vitally important stand of trees. And you can see that why that would be so significant. If you look at the center of the picture here, you may see that it was located almost exactly midway between the Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea, sitting right in the middle of a vast desert region. Now this image may be a bit too cluttered. This second slide should give us a little clearer picture. Or maybe even this one would be better. But no matter how it is shown, remember this is a desert land. And in deserts, anything like standing trees would always be highly sought after, because these living trees means shade and water. 2 of the things most important life-saving requirements. We can't live without water, and we will evaporate without some form of shade from the sun, especially in the desert region. The average temperature swings in this region can be anywhere from 80 to 90 degrees in the daytime to about 60 degrees or so at night. And, well, of course, that's dry heat, right? But even so, this is arid weather. There is never much water, but you will find lots of dry, hot sand. Most of us here would find this area to be quite uncomfortable, at least at first. And I believe personally that I would struggle, even in a shade sanctuary of the trees, I would take some time for my body to ever become comfortable in such an environment. And that is true for most of us all here in this room, as well as until we can acclimate ourselves to the climate. It takes a while. Actually, it takes less time to acclimate to warmth than it does to cold. So we have that going for us. But either way, those who do live in this environment and who travel through the desert regions, the oaks of Mamre were sought out because they became safe They were an oasis. You could be revitalized by the shade and the water that would be offered there. Many legends speak about this place and these trees, Old Testament, Old World. There are even stories of some first century pilgrims who would stop at Mamre for all kinds of rituals and ceremonies, and according to legends, countless travelers came here, Jews, Christians, and all manner of pagan, no doubt each in their own way giving thanks for the relief of such a place as this. Imagine if you were walking several days in nothing but dry sand dunes, one after the other. Your water resources are running out or maybe even gone completely, and then you look in the distance and you see the tops of trees. It would be understandable to expect that those who find this place would be offering all kinds of worship and thanksgiving and devotions made at a place like this. And it seems that Father Abraham was no exception. Back in Genesis 13, when he was still known as Abram, the Lord said, "Lift up your eyes from where you are and look north and south and east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go. Walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you." It would seem that Abraham did not really want to travel all that far, because here in the 18th verse of Genesis 13, after finding this place, we read, "So Abram moved his tents and went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he built an altar to the Lord. And it was here, under these great trees of Mamre, that Abram pitched his tents. And at his tent is where the three men appeared before Abram and Sarai. Abraham looked up and saw three men standing nearby." I'm not sure whether any of us could say what we would have done in such a situation, but we can take what happens next as probably the proper thing to do, as Abram realized that these were no ordinary travelers. He did what probably some of us might realize, but I would dare say I would be lucky if I would have thought, because along with these three men were not human. They were different. And he realized that this was the Lord and two of his angels. How that happened is one of those questions I'll have to ask later. But we do know what he did. And what he did was very much in keeping with the Old Testament traditions. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. Some would even say maybe prostrate on the ground, not feeling worthy to even look them in the eye. And it may have looked something like this. So my advice is, whenever you find yourself before God, the Lord Almighty, whether if God came to see you or if you go to see God, prostrating oneself before the Lord would always be your best bet, at least at the beginning of this meeting. You have no right to stand toe-to-toe to God. And if anyone's can make a guess as to what happened next, good luck. But if we follow on with Abraham's example, in a word, it would be hospitality. This is an important concept, hospitality. It's, especially in a desert region, it's a most logical response, really, because if you lived in such a place, you would tend to be welcoming towards your strangers with the thought being that one day you may find yourself in need of someone providing compassionate hospitality for you. Also, being a welcoming and hospitable person is central to our UCC faith tradition. We like to portray ourselves as the church which offers the extravagant welcome. You know, no matter where you are in life's journey, you are welcome here. When we provide a great welcoming, we are offering hospitality. And extravagant hospitality is exactly what Abram is offering with these three unexpected high-level guests. Both Abram and the United Church of Christ offer extravagant welcomes and hospitality because when we do this, we are showing the best of humanity. And you know what? Hospitality is an attitude which is also very much biblical. Just calling up a few examples out of scriptures like this one from Leviticus 9. The alien living with you must be treated as one of your native born. Love him as yourself, for you were aliens in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Hebrews 13:2. Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by doing so, some people have entertained angels without knowing it. Romans 12. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. And from 1 Peter. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. That last part may be kind of hard sometimes. Father Abraham was very aware of what would be expected him when any normal stranger came into his camp, but especially now how to behave before the Lord and his angels. He said, if I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under the tree. I take this as meaning to say something like, kind sir, if you would allow me, O Lord, please let me have the privilege of providing what hospitality I can afford you. If I am able to deliver to you any rest and comfort from the heat of the day, this would please me. I live to provide comfort and refreshment for you. All this inferred from the words, let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way, now that you have come to your servant. And now here we come to the question of the day. When we offer our hospitality, are we doing so with the hopes that we just may be entertaining an angel, thereby pleasing God as you do these things for the least of them you do for me? Or is it in the hearts, is it in our nature to naturally react toward our sisters and our brothers with an welcoming, accepting desire to thank them for coming to us and offer a hospitality that would be refreshing, even invigorating, that they can continue on their journey? Are we providing an extravagant welcome in such a way as to please all, make everyone who comes in our vicinity thankful that they did? It was so good to meet you. When we extend our hand and say, pleasure meeting someone, pleasure to know you. How do we know it's a pleasure? May not be. But if we can make the effort to be welcoming, a genuine host with a desire to be hospitable, I would hope that we do this, whether it be an angel of God or just another brother or sister. Now, others may not know your intentions. You can be a nice guy with just the worst thoughts. Matter of fact, many criminals tend to be very accepting and pleasing and a pleasure to be around just before they stick the knife in your back or take your purse and run or whatever it is that they may do. But I can promise you, while we may not know the true intentions, God does know all that is in our hearts. And when we consider this day of being thankful to all of the fathers in our lives, even someone else's father who may be a stranger to us, I would hope that we can remember the motto that the world knows the United Church by, that we are members of the United Church of Christ, and we proudly demonstrate that we are a faith tradition which really does offer the extravagant welcome to all. And we are the church to proudly proclaim that no matter where you are on life's journey, no matter who you are welcome here. And I honestly do believe that we here at the First United Church of Christ in Clay City believe this to be true. And while several of the people here have regularly traveled similar roads, we all know each other. We're a very small community. It is my prayer that we will always be open to the stranger who may come across the door. And that when they arrive, that they know that they are welcome here. We are glad that they are here. And we offer an extravagant welcome.